Hello, 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 and welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday. My name is Michelle, aka the Ignited Teacher. And what I do here on Teaching Tip Tuesday is I help math teachers like yourself to close learning gaps by providing you with research-based and evidence-based math strategies that can be implemented in your classroom as early as the very next day. I don't know why every time I come on here, my nose starts to itch. That's bananas. But thank you for being a part of Teaching Tip Tuesday. If you are new here, let me know where you all are chatting from in the comment section. You might be following me on Twitter or Facebook, or even in my Facebook group or on YouTube, because I live stream there as well. But let me know where you're chatting from, what grade level you teach, and I'd love to connect with you. So if you are a part of my community and you watch and follow me often, thank you for being a part of my community. And thank you for showing up and listening to me ramble sometimes. I've met so many teachers over the course of this whole journey with live stream, because you've seen my live streams change over the years. So thank you for tuning in tonight. So if you cannot catch me on this Teaching Tip Tuesday live, because life does happen, you can always catch me on YouTube. And all of my Teaching Tip Tuesday videos are housed on YouTube. They are housed in a playlist that I have, Teaching Tip Tuesday. So every time I go live, and that playlist is probably going to get real long because I go live once a week. So it's going to get pretty long. I didn't even think about that. But anyway, this Teaching Tip Tuesdays can be, all of my Teaching Tip Tuesdays from when I first started can be found on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, just hop on over there and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification. Give this live stream a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. That's the most important thing, because it lets you know when I go live or upload other videos or whatnot. So got the formalities out of the way. Every month I try to align my Teaching Tip Tuesday, which what is actually happening in our profession. So I'm still a teacher. If you didn't know, if you're new here, I am an 8th grade teacher. I currently teach Algebra 1, but I have taught, I've taught elementary, middle, and high school. So I'm on this new adventure with 8th graders, because this is my first year teaching 8th grade. But every month I actually come up with topics. So this topic for this week is equations and models, and next week will be area and perimeter, connecting them in that vertical alignment. So tonight's topic is about closing gaps with equations. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen so many children in my life struggle with equations. Like it's bananas. So I only am on here for 30 minutes. So let me go ahead and jump into that topic. Now, I started out, and most people don't know, as a math interventionist at the high school with algebra. I taught elementary for many years, and I've taught middle school. The grade level that I have taught the most is 5th grade. So, you know, when everything changed, 5th grade took a lot. You know, it's no longer connected in the curriculum with elementary. It really is more aligned with middle school. Now, one of the things that I noticed that kids in high school and even in middle school struggle with is the model for equations. And a lot of teachers kind of don't understand why this model matters. And when I was an interventionist at the high school, this is where I started at, and pretty much started before that. One of the things that I saw the kids struggling with is this equal sign. This is the most underestimated and misunderstood sign that children look over all the time. Now, when we have the equation model, I normally put the equal sign in there so that kids can understand it. But even before that, if you have children that are struggling with equations, you really need to go back to this. 3 plus 3 equals 6. And really start with, what does this mean? And a lot of kids will say, oh, it just means they're equal. Well, that's not necessarily true. What does equality actually mean? You know, and you can talk about representation. So I have 3 dots here and 3 dots here. But then when I put 3 and 3 together, it creates the total. Now, a lot of kids really don't understand this concept, the equality of it, and how the quantities, although they may be separated, they actually have the same value. And it goes back to whole numbers, and that's what I see that kids struggle with, equations. So if you are a teacher, and let me erase this, and you have some high school, middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kids are struggling, go back to the meaning of the equal sign. And then you can scaffold it up. So I had 3 plus 3 equals 6, but then I can go to question mark plus 3 equals 6. And this can be a whole discussion. It can be a discussion, because how do you know what this question mark means? Even before the kids understand that this is a variable goes there. This is something that is taught in elementary school. So once they are there with the question mark, sometimes we'll say 3 plus the missing add-in equals 6. Does the value stay the same? What number goes here? And then it should scaffold to x plus 3 equals 6. Now, this is the progression of it. And a lot of teachers don't go back and really have this meaningful and rich conversation about equations. We don't, because a lot of us in the secondary level are looking at this, because this is the progression. If students understand the equal sign and what it means, it is a natural progression into this model, because they'll understand that what's on the left side has to equal to the right side. So once they have understood this, then we move on to understanding this. And we put that equal sign here. So say, for instance, we have x plus 4 is equal to 9. Okay? When I first did this with my students, these were intervention kids, they automatically, oh, it's 5. Because they really connected it to the elementary understanding of the equality sign. So then I brought in the 0 pair. And this here is the most underrated understanding of solving equations. This is a one-step equation. And what I teach my kids are attributes of one step. So I'm going to take this back a step. And let me go ahead and erase this. And we're going to just use algebra tiles. So here's X. Then I have 4. These are positive. So then we go into the algebra tiles. So the kids have an understanding. So that's X plus 4. And then we have positive 9 over here. 6. I should have did a smaller number, but here we are. So we have X plus 9. Now, when we talk about addition and subtraction, if we would talk more in depth, and let me go back to here, of the inverse operation. So what would be the inverse of 3 plus 3 equals 6? Well, it would be, and in elementary they call them fact families. It's the opposite. If we put a plus sign here, it will equal this. So when we talk about inverses or fact families, that connects to this. It connects directly to this model for equations. So here we're going to do the opposite of positive. And if you've done that work with number lines, that's why all teachers, Algebra 1 teachers on down, should always have number lines. My kids who struggle with this, they rely on the number line because they're not at the abstract level yet. So when they are here, they look at the number line. Okay, I have 4 positive. And I have 9 positives here. So I'm going to do the opposite. And here's your 0 pair. So it's, you do minus 1. Let me go back. Minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. Because the goal is to isolate the variable. So this is gone. It is a 0 pair. Now, if you want to explain 0 pairs to students, here's 0. And here's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Now, they have to understand negative and positive motions. So if I am adding 3, because here's negative 3. If I add 3, 1, 2, 3, where do I stop at? 0. Because I'm going in a positive direction. Here's positive 3. If I'm adding positive 3, I still hit 0. So that's what a 0 pair is. And one of my students gave a really good example or explanation of a 0 pair is having the same amount of positives as negatives. That is an excellent explanation. But this is the foundation of clearing up. This is closing the gap. It starts here. This is where you start with this work on closing gaps and clearing up misconceptions with your one-step equations. Now, what I do is when my kids are moving on to two-step equations, we compare two-step and one-step. So here's one-step and here's two steps. So one step, we have x plus 4 equals 9. A two-step problem would be 2x plus 4 equals 9. And what I do, even before explaining it and solving it, I will do this. Oops. Minus 4, and I put a line here, but it just helps the kids to organize. That's a 0 pair. X is equal to 5. We did one step. We just subtracted 4 from each side. Now over here, we're going to subtract 4 from each side, but we still have 2x is equal to 5. Now, they have to do the inverse, and x is equal to 5 halves, or if you want to change it to a decimal. When you compare these one-step and two-step equations, it actually gives the kids a better understanding of those equations. And that's where you do the work. Now, with your two-step equations, the gap closing is still the same. My students, when they struggled with, when we finally got to two-step equations, they still struggled here with the 0 pairs, which is the same issue here. But that goes back to an energy issue, not an issue with the actual equations. So hopefully that was helpful to give you some insight, really definitely for next year, because we're winding down the school year. As you're planning this summer, this may be a video that you may want to revisit to help you all with, you know, thinking about what do I need to front load my information with. Now, I want to share this blog post with you all. It's called Scaffolding Instruction to Support Diverse Learners. Now, it talks about scaffolding, but I wanted to bring your attention to scaffolding versus discovery. Now, in here it says, when attempting to scaffold a lesson, consider these 4 questions. What will you use? One of them is, what will you use to connect the new learning to what the students know? And the gap closing that I showed you today is, I showed you how to connect it to elementary. That's why our content knowledge as math teachers, it is our bread and butter. Because if you don't know what the kids should have known or should know, not just the grade level below, we're talking about the grade levels below. Or if you don't know and you don't go find out, you'll always hit a brick wall, because the kids will never connect what they know to what you're trying to do. So you have to be able to connect the new learning to what the kids already know. They are not blank slates. I know a lot of teachers think that they are, but kids are not blank slates. So think about it. When you are closing your gaps, whether it be with these equations, one-step or two-step equations, definitely go back and look at what the children are supposed to know. And I'm not saying search for the needle in the haystack. I'm actually saying have a conversation with some of your vertical alignment teachers. So if you're teaching 5th grade, your vertical alignment teachers are grades 1 through 4. And you can find the vertical alignment. Achieve the Core has a coherence map, and Lead Forward has a scaffolding document, and they're both free. So you can find the vertical alignment and follow it and find out the information that you need to close the gaps at their current grade placement level. So I'm going to do a little recap about the things I just went over. First of all is to definitely try to connect the new to the known. To let your kids know that, it's okay. Yes, my kids, when I was introducing quadratics, they were freaking out, but I connected it to what they knew about linear equations and linear inequalities. It's the same thing, but in a different form. It has some of the same features with a little bit of new stuff. The second thing is to have meaningful conversations around the equal sign. That is the most misunderstood and misrepresented symbol probably in mathematics, because the children really don't have a sound understanding coming from elementary to understand what that means about equality. So that's something you need to have a conversation about. And then scaffold the information the new information, connect it to what they know, and then move them forward so the children don't get frustrated and give out, especially for your special ed kids and your kids that are working below grade level. So if you are a teacher and you need help with closing gaps, get on my wait list for the Math Intervention Academy. That is what I help you all with, is to provide strategies to help you build your capacity with your content knowledge and implementing a math intervention plan that actually meets the needs of your students that are sitting in front of you. So it is exactly 7:57. And if you're interested in getting on the wait list, you can hop on over to the mathinterventionacademy.com and get on the wait list. But if not, you can tune in next week with me for Teaching Tip Tuesday. I'll be talking about area and perimeter and connecting it through the vertical alignment. So I will see you all next week for another episode of Teaching Tip Tuesday.